Hi, my name's Cameron Carlson with AnimeOnLocation.tv. I'm here at Matsuricon 2015 with Mr. Kevin Bolk. How you doing?
All right, and how are you?
I'm okay.
Groovy.
So it's been about a year since you and I got the chance to talk. It was at Matsuricon last year. How have you been since then?
Been all right. Yeah, it's mostly been a lot of, let's see, I think since we last talked, we had wrapped up the last Instance Sue book.
Yes.
And that went just amazing, so we've been doing that. And then we finally, due to popular demand, we actually put all of our parody stuff, so the Sucks to Be Ouija comics and all that stuff, into a brand new book, and people have just been going nuts about that, so there's been that. But on a personal front, like, I've been kind of just, either working or working out, so getting in shape and trying to,
Yeah,
like...
I've noticed. It's very, you look very well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think I've dropped, like...
I think I've good 20 pounds, in my opinion.
If that, no, actually, like, all said and done, it's a little closer to 40.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been
Within a year, 40 pounds. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So it's working out, and I've been feeling like because of it, my back injury's been a lot better, and everything's just been like,
you're really carrying all the weight on front.
Yeah. So it's been like building all the muscles and stuff to get stronger again. So it's been really cool.
Alrighty, and you had talked about how you were more recognizable at conventions because of certain art pieces. How do you introduce yourself to those that are new fans? I mean, obviously we have the infamous Avengers photo available, and we also have the Pokemon trainer photo that's very infamous. So how is it? How do people know? They're like, wait a minute, you're the guy who drew that? I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, it's always interesting with that Avengers piece because it's very different. Well, both the Avengers piece and the Pokemon trainer piece, like, they're very different in terms of my style. Because like I mostly do like the cute, fun things, right? And those are more realistic and gritty. Like, so it's kind of like, I'm glad you like that. Everything else I do is nothing like that. So basically, it's more or less like, okay, yes, I'm the guy who drew that, but let's be friends, and then I'll tell you about my other stuff. And so, it's usually like, yeah, I draw comics. Here's our website. Here's this. Nice to meet you. How you enjoying the con so far? Just chit chat and being friends, and it kind of works into the other stuff. So.
Alrighty, and tell us about the studio and how it's been growing. I mean, you guys have really, really expanded within the last year in terms of your studios, hiring Sammy over there on, and things like that.
Yeah, right now we're kind of like in a transition phase to what I would be calling phase 2 of the studio. We're kind of like doing a lot more. We're kind of outgrowing our fandom roots a little bit. I shouldn't say outgrowing, but like we can't really do like stuff like Sucks to Be Ouija is great and I love it, but like there's kind of a glass ceiling where you can get something that's essentially a parody comic. So we're experimenting with different kinds of comics and new material, and basically like bring along all our fans who were there for like It Sucks to Be Ouija and Instance Sue, and bring them to our more to our completely 100% original projects. So there's been a lot of like kind of setting up the groundwork for that. And the Patreon, we actually started a Patreon a couple months ago, and that's been a huge help. Yeah. And everyone's been really, really supportive, and we've been like just letting everyone know, like, hey, the more you help us out, the more we can help you out. We can get more stuff done. We can we're actually within like spitting distance of being able to put out YouTube videos, which means we'll be able to like take a lot of our panels and put them on video. And a lot of people asking about my method, like how I do coloring and Photoshop work and my inking style and stuff like that. So I'd love to be able to try to get that, and we're like this close. So hopefully that'll be happening before the end of the year. So that's been a big boon too. So mostly it's been a lot of that kind of stuff.
Cool. And if you had one costume you could do for cosplay, which we know you're a cosplayer, with any amount of money, any amount of time, and no object, what character would you pick the most you would love to cosplay? Because we know the infamous Skeletor. Yes. We do know your other things of nature that you've cosplayed. Yes. You are a proponent of transgender community and LGBT community. Yes. So everything's on the table for you. So anybody, anywhere, anytime, no money, no issues. Go.
No money, no issues. So that's kind of tough. Like, because if it was just like, what do I want to do? But like, if like you have all the resources, what if you always want to do? I would love to do a full-sized Golbez from Final Fantasy IV. Like full armor. I want to have like stilts and extensions and like be all just cool and radical. But if I could, I don't know, if I could magically change my body and be a hot girl character, really, and anything where I can wear next to nothing would be amazing. Like that would just be fantastic.
So some of the Kill la Kill costumes we have here.
Yeah, you know what? I still have to watch that, but it looks amazing. Maybe just Lum from Mirasi Yatsura. I mentioned that I dressed up as 10 from Mirasi Yatsura as a joke. I would love to do do Lum for realsies just to show respect to one of the greatest ladies in anime history.
Alrighty, and tell us why you feel. Tell us why you feel that the original Star Trek is better than the newer versions.
Now, see, I wouldn't say better. I would say I like it more because I keep telling people this because I'm really into campy sci-fi a lot. My all-time favorite movie is 1980 Flash Gordon, and I tell people judge. Actually, you're gonna judge me anyway, so who cares? I like Flash Gordon better than Star Wars. Yeah. And that isn't to say I don't like I love Star Wars. Right. Star Wars is awesome. But I love the campy feel. I love laser beams and rock and roll. Yeah. It's Queen. Yeah, I like the costumes and everything. And so I like classic Trek because it's kind of got that campy sci-fi feel to it. Later, Next Generation, they're all great shows, and I do enjoy them, but they take themselves a lot more seriously than, and so I kind of like that kind of fun. And the original Trek tackled some serious issues. It wasn't, it wasn't dumb, but it was more fun, and that's the kind of thing I like.
Yeah, because I think it was Uhura came to the original creator and said, "Are these morality plays?" And he goes, "Shh." Yeah. And that's the 1960s and 70s, so that's a really big deal.
Yeah, and I mean, it was so progressive for its time, it is. Gene Roddenberry used to pat himself on the back a little bit too much for that in his later years. But no, it's great that things are able to do with it, and so respect. From a historical perspective, the show deserves a huge amount of respect. Yeah.
Alrighty, and how can fans keep up with you online and your work? I mean, obviously you have the studio's website, then your own Facebook, your own Twitter, and all that stuff. So how can people keep up with you? I mean, it's basically just point at the internet, find you wandering around, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty much like how you'd find me at cons, exactly. Just kind of wander around, you'll see me at some point. And if you're lucky, I won't say something incredibly stupid. I'm really just look up my name, Kevin Bolk. I'm very lucky in that, B-O-L-K is actually a very not so common last name, so I'm pretty easy. Just you do a Google search on my name, you'll find one of a million things where you can find me. But yeah, I'm on Twitter, Tumblr, under my name. There's good and bad in Tumblr, and luckily I've been. You're on the good side. I do a little bit of everything. I do understand there's good and bad, and I try to focus on the good. Facebook, all that stuff. I don't have an Instagram yet. Ooh. I've had a lot of people telling me I need to get one.
Yeah, I don't have one either.
I don't know. Weird Al has one apparently, and.
Took a picture with your art.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny. The art was actually commissioned. We're going to give a segue. I hope you don't mind. But the art was actually commissioned by a friend of Sammy's, who's one of our studio people.
Sammy.
Yes. Hi, Sammy. So she was like, this friend was going to go to a VIP meet and greet with Weird Al, and she's like, Kevin, let's plan this. Can you draw this piece for Sammy? I'll take it to Weird Al, have him sign it, and then we'll give it to her for her birthday. Because her birthday was going on the day that this VIP meet and greet was. Yeah. So so she did that. We finished it. She flipped out. She went to show it to him. He loved it. He was like, "Oh, that's all. Can I take photos?" And he signed it. And he was really cool. And he's an awesome guy. Massive respect for Weird Al Yankovic. The only problem was that the day afterwards, he had actually posted it on his Instagram. Right. Before Sammy had gotten the gift.
Oh no.
So basically, I had friends who were hitting me up on social media, like, Kevin, look, Weird Al, showed your picture. I'm like, shut up. And I feel bad because I have all these eager friends and fans who are like, Cabo, look, don't quiet, keep quiet. By some miracle, we managed to actually keep it a surprise for Sammy up until she received it. But it was a lot of running and deflecting. I was texting like crazy, the people who I knew personally, who I could actually kind of take that down right now. Thank you, I appreciate it. Any other time would be perfect. Not right now. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I don't know.
Yeah. So it's fun because now you have 3 pieces of your art now out there in the world of cyberspace that everyone will know.
It gets around. The internet is a funny and fun place.
Yep. Now, are there any upcoming or current projects you want fans to talk about that we haven't obviously touched on, and any fan message you want to get out there?
Yeah. Well, I think we said this last year, but I think we mean it this time. Hopefully,
we do.
Trigger Star. We're trying to get that back up. Really, it's a matter of a couple things. One, because it's a collaborative effort between me and Sarah, and Sarah is like the business end of this relationship, and the business never really so like trying to find that time where we can get together and collaborate and write while still keeping the business going is a little difficult, but like so we had to do it a little bit at a time. The other thing too is that like I wrote Trigger Star when I was 19. I started that. It was a very different time, and attitudes, especially on the internet, has changed toward things, and there were things, and like I've changed as a person. There are a lot of things like I've completely reversed on in terms of how I felt, but so my concern about drawing attention to it, even if we go in a positive, in a different direction with it, people go back to the old stuff and are like, oh, there's just all this grossness, and and Cabo sucks. So we're trying to figure out a way to do that so people like understand what the history behind the comic and kind of get back into it and understand what we're trying to do with it. Because a lot of people, they see art, and I've actually had this issue recently with some recent art where people like see a piece of art and then from their own they kind of project like what they think the artist is doing. Like it has no basis in what is actually presented in front of you, but you have this kind of mindset that you take into it. So you assume, oh well, the artist drew this, so it, and since I think this must mean he thinks this, and that's, kind of like, with all my work, I try to keep things like light and fun, even when I'm trying to make a point.
To be honest with you, I've looked at a lot of your art, and I know that there's this funny but light but a message behind it, but it's not so deep that it really is like I need to make it so hard. And I get what you're saying is that attitudes when you're 19 versus now 20-something totally drastically changed. So obviously, and then culturally, it's also a big change in Swifts too. So hopefully Trigger Star will be coming out. And do you have any final messages you want fans to know about?
Yes, we are. I'm saying to go on the Patreon, not just because you'd be helping out the studio, and also so you can get how-to videos, but we are actually unveiling character designs and basically behind-the-scenes stuff for our brand new series that we're working on at the same time while we're getting Trigger Star back up. It is brand new, 100% like original. We're really excited about it. Sammy's actually a co-writer on it. So we've been working on it like all summer, trying to get it going, and we're actually starting on the real meat and bones of it. So in the coming weeks on our Patreon, and eventually people are going to get to see the actual the finished logo and the finished stuff. But if you're really interested in like behind the scenes stuff and how things are developed, we're posting a lot of that on our Patreon, and we always like giving back to people who are helping us. So most definitely hit us up on that.
And a final message you want to give to all your wonderful fans.
I love you guys. That's really all I got.
All right. Thanks so much, Kevin, for coming and talking with us. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.